If you've ever walked away from a really tough experience, a bad breakup, a big career setback, just a long time of feeling lost, and you felt like a totally different person,
Hmm.
well, you're right. You weren't just changed in some metaphorical way. Your brain, it actually physically changed.
It really did. That kind of prolonged struggle, it leaves these permanent marks on your operating system.
Yeah.
It fundamentally shifts how you see everything.
Everything.
And those marks, they're not flaws. They're actually deep psychological, even biological adaptations. So today we're doing a deep dive into 5 of those subtle, often invisible traits that show up in people who've been through it.
And we're going to be looking at this through a few lenses.
Exactly. We're blending some foundational psychology, like the work of Carl Jung, with what we now know from modern research to really understand what these traits are.
Why they're there.
Yes, how they act as these protective shields and, maybe most importantly, how they can actually pave the way for some pretty extraordinary growth.
And our goal here is just to shed some light on this material. We want to illuminate these defense mechanisms so you can understand the engineering behind them, especially if you recognize some of this in yourself.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with a big one. This intense need for everything to be just right.
Ah, yes.
Maybe you find yourself micromanaging outcomes, or you see tiny details that everyone else just seems to miss. Where does that pressure to control every little thing come from?
It's often a manifestation of what's called hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance.
Right. And it's less of a personality quirk and more of a physical and mental state.
Mm-hmm.
When life has felt unsafe or just deeply unpredictable for a long time, the brain basically flips a switch.
Into what? Like a high alert mode?
Exactly. It becomes a dedicated security scanner,
Hmm.
constantly searching the horizon for the next potential danger.
But why does it stay on? I mean, if the danger is gone, why doesn't the system just power down?
Because the wiring has adapted to protect you. Research on this is pretty clear. Trauma survivors often overestimate potential threats. The brain is making a guess based on its past data.
And that data is all negative.
Overwhelmingly negative. So it concludes that any deviation from the norm, anything unexpected, equals vulnerability.
So it's not about being a perfectionist. It's the brain desperately trying to get back a sense of safety that was just gone. It's imposing its own structure on the world.
Precisely. And that's why you might find yourself checking that the door's locked 3-4 times.
Oh, yeah.
Or why a meeting starting 5 minutes late can create this huge, disproportionate sense of anxiety.
Because it's not part of the plan.
It's not part of the plan.
Yeah.
And any unpredictability once meant pain. I mean,
Right.
think about someone in a new relationship who feels this intense urge to check their date's phone. That's the hypervigilant scanner at work. It's trying to find data on a potential threat because its history says that if you miss the signs, the result is catastrophic. It is absolutely exhausting, but to the brain, it feels like essential survival work.
And that need for control, it flows so naturally into the second trait, which is expecting the worst.
Mm-hmm.
That tendency to just anticipate disappointment, even when things are going great. It's like that old cynical line, if you expect disappointment, then you can never really be disappointed.
It's a joke, but it's also a deep, deep psychological shield.
Absolutely.
Carl Jung talked about this. He said prolonged suffering can narrow our possibility vision. Basically, if hope has been punished over and over again, if being optimistic has only led to disaster, the brain learns that hope itself is dangerous.
So you start to see hope as a vulnerability.
Exactly. The safest bet is just to lower expectations to zero.
So it's like a preemptive emotional anesthetic. You're doing the surgery on yourself before life has a chance to.
That's a perfect way to put it. Research actually calls this the pessimism bias. Repeated negative events literally train the brain to see failure as the default outcome.
And you see this play out all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Think about when a really great opportunity comes up, a job, a relationship. For a lot of people, the very first thought isn't excitement. It's, probably won't work out.
And they'll tell themselves they're just being realistic.
Exactly, I'm just being grounded. But what's really happening is they're building a fortress around their emotions to avoid the shock of disappointment. It's a defensive ritual. If the rejection comes, well, they're already prepared for it.
The danger, I guess, is that the fortress becomes a prison. It stops you from even trying for the good things.
That is the great challenge. Recognizing when the shield that kept you safe is now keeping you stuck. Okay, so that brings us to something quieter, a kind of pain we don't really have rituals for. I'm talking about living loss.
Living loss.
Yeah. It's that profound grief you feel when no one has actually died. It's the loss of trust, the loss of who you thought you were, the end of a relationship, the death of a dream.
And that's so heavy because, well, the world just expects you to get over it,
Yeah.
right? There's no funeral for losing your trust in someone.
And because there's no ending, no closure, the grief just lingers. This kind of unacknowledged mourning, it can actually rewire the brain's reward system. It can literally dampen your ability to feel pure, simple joy.
Wow.
Jung believed that when that grief isn't processed, it just stays in the unconscious and it comes out as this subtle, low-grade self-punishment for what was lost.
That makes so much sense. It explains that feeling. I've heard people describe it as watching your own life from behind a sheet of glass.
That is the perfect mental picture.
We're there, you know. You're in the great job, you're in the new relationship, but you feel disconnected.
You're disconnected because a huge part of you is still tied to a ghost timeline, the life where the suffering didn't happen, where the betrayal never occurred.
So you're living in the present, but you're mourning a past that never got to be.
And that feeling of separation, of being physically here but emotionally stuck back there, that is the toll of living loss. It's demanding to be seen.
So let's talk about the turning point. Because suffering, it really is like an emotional earthquake, isn't it? It shakes everything and forces you to reevaluate what actually matters.
And that's the crucial fork in the road. Those tremors, they leave you with a choice, a binary choice.
Better or bitter.
Better or bitter. Psychologists have a name for the positive path, post-traumatic growth, PTG.
Which is more than just bouncing back, right? It's not just about being resilient.
It's so much more. It's about using the energy of that collapse to build a new foundation that's fundamentally stronger than the old one. People who experience this, they emerge with this profound sense of gratitude, a new appreciation for life,
And a stronger sense of self, I'd imagine.
a much stronger sense of self because they've seen their own rock bottom and they know they can survive it.
And you can see this choice play out so dramatically on the world stage. It's like a historical coin flip.
I mean, think of someone like Nelson Mandela.
27 years in prison.
27 brutal years. He had every right to emerge filled with hatred, with a desire for revenge. But instead, he channeled that unimaginable suffering into forgiveness, into reconciliation.
He used his pain as a blueprint for healing a whole nation.
And then you have the opposite. You have historical figures who faced rejection, poverty, failure. And instead of growing, they let that pain curdle into this destructive, bitter resentment.
And unleashed that on the world.
It's the same raw material suffering, but the choice of what to build with it. That choice makes all the difference. So our final trait brings us back to Jung and this powerful archetype he called the wounded healer.
The wounded healer.
This is the person whose deepest pain becomes the very engine for why they help others. They dedicate their lives to helping people navigate the same struggles they went through.
And on the surface, that seems like the most beautiful outcome, turning your pain into purpose. Your scars give you this incredible empathy. You can connect with people because you genuinely know the terrain.
And that's the powerful positive side of it. But there's a complication. It's subtle, but it's really important.
Okay.
That intense passion to heal. It might not be entirely selfless. It can also be an unconscious way of trying to tend to your own wounds. Wounds that have never really been faced.
Ah, so you're helping others as a way to kind of retroactively help yourself.
You got it. It's like you seek out people who are a mirror of your past self, hoping that if you can succeed in healing them, it will finally quiet that ache inside you from your own story.
Wow.
But the trap is that your mission becomes a mirror for the healing you still need to do.
Yeah.
You're so busy guiding others to the battlefield that you never actually leave it yourself.
You're just replaying the old story over and over through other people. Your identity gets stuck as the survivor who helps.
And you never fully transition into just being a person who is healed.
Mm.
It's a profound double bind.
So the very thing that gives you strength and connection can also be the thing that keeps you tethered to the past.
That's the paradox.
Pain leaves a mark, that's clear.
Yeah.
But the brain isn't static, right? It can heal, it can adapt and grow stronger.
Absolutely. And the crucial shift, the real healing, it begins when you move from just having these protective traits to actively understanding them.
Recognizing that they were built for survival.
They were. But sometimes the walls you built to keep out the pain also end up keeping out the joy.
So the journey really starts when you just pay attention to what's happening inside, the invisible architecture.
And so here's a thought to carry with you. Consider the traits you've developed to protect yourself. Think about the one that gives you the most strength. Maybe it is that hypervigilance that makes you so good at your job, or that deep drive to help others.
Mm.
Now ask yourself, is it possible that the very trait that defines your survival is also the one that's keeping you in a loop? How do you keep the strength of it without getting caught in the trap of it? Finding that balance. That's the work for all of us.